Hey everybody, today I'm going to review Milwaukee's 6523 Orbital Action Super Sawzall. Now this is a 13 amp model and it's corded, so it's not the most powerful one that they make, but it's right up there at the top and it really is more powerful than about 95% of other Sawzalls or even reciprocating saws on the market today. Now the reason that I chose this model over any of the other ones is the fact that it has one very unique design feature that's not found on any other corded or cordless saws on the market today, and that's the fact that the handle will actually rotate 360 degrees independently of the rest of the tool. So let's say you want to cut upside down. Normally you could turn the saw upside down or turn your blade upside down, but with this one you can actually just pull a button back, spin the motor all the way around, and now the saw is literally upside down, but your handle is aimed straight ahead. If you have something you want to cut to the side, you pull that same button back, you just move it to the side, it's going to lock in. Now you can make some side cuts, and you're not going to have to twist your wrist or hold this awkwardly in order to make those cuts. Now what I want to do in this video is actually go over the different features that they have built into this. We're going to compare it to the M18 fuel Sawzall, and then we're going to see how it actually performs. Now here's a closer look at what you're actually going to get in the box, and that's a blow mold carrying case, the Orbital Super Sawzall, as well as a power cord. Now if you notice, this is not attached full time, and that's because it can be removed very easily, and it is a 10-foot model. So you can see this little fitting on the end here is going to plug right in the end and lock it in place. But if you ever do accidentally damage this cord in the future, you can just replace the cord. You're not going to have to send the entire tool off for repair or throw it away and buy another one. Now I do want to point out that this is a 10-foot long cord, but they do also sell these as an accessory in different lengths. So if you want a longer cord, they do offer that for you, and you wouldn't have to drag an extension cord around with you. Here's a closer look at the Super Sawzall, and I want to point out the fact that this one is extremely unique across the board of Sawzalls as well as reciprocating saws from other manufacturers, because of the fact that the handle is going to rotate 360 degrees independent of the rest of the tool. And what I mean by that, this black button right here, we can just pull that back, and if you just watch the handle, I can spin the tool completely around and keep my hand in a very comfortable working position. So let's say I need to cut something upside down, maybe I need to cut something directly sideways or at an angle. I can do that very easily, and my hand is not going to have to be twisted around in an uncomfortable position to do that. Now this is very unique. Like I said, most of the time if you want to cut something upside down, you must just spin the blade around, but if you want to cut something sideways, then you have to turn the tool sideways. In this case, you can actually just rotate the handle sideways. It's going to lock right in place and you can get right to work. Now this does really lock in 8 possible positions in the 360 degree rotation. So every 45 degrees, it's going to lock in, and if you just pull the button back again, rotate it a little more, it's going to lock in again. Now the other nice thing is the fact that this does not have any cords in between this and the actual unit itself. So you can continue to spin this around and you're not going to rip anything internally apart. So that's a really nice feature that they have built in. It's not going to only turn, let's say, halfway one direction, halfway the other direction. This literally is completely independent of the rest of the tool. To remove or install a blade is very easy to do. There's no tools needed, so there's no hex keys or anything else. This is actually one of their quick lock mechanisms. So you can see it does have a little collar that's going to spin. We'll just spin that, insert a blade as we're holding it open, and you can see releasing it is going to lock everything into place. Now I do also want to point out that the shoe on this is going to pivot as well as extend or retract simply by just moving this lever open. You can see we can move that out, and even though we may have worn the teeth off of our blade right there, by moving this out and relocking it down, now it's giving us a completely new position on the blade to cut with. Another feature of this is the fact that it's an orbital super sawzall versus just a standard sawzall that does not have orbital action. And the real good thing is the fact that you can turn the orbital action on or off. So if you're doing just cuts through wood or metal and you want to have very fine cuts, then you can leave it on non-orbital mode. So if you just slide the red tab to the left, you'll see arrows going directly in and out, and that means that the blade's going directly in and out. Now if you are going to be doing demolition work or you're cutting through wood that you don't really care about the quality of the cut, and it will be a rougher cut, you can actually flip that over to orbital mode. now instead of the blade going directly in and out, it's actually moving at sort of an oval shape. So it's really going to plow through the wood very quickly, and it's going to allow you to get a lot more work done in the same amount of time. Right here on the base of the handle is where the power cord is going to plug into. So you can see we can just line everything up, press it into place, and now we're going to need to twist this collar a quarter of a turn clockwise to lock it down. So now that I've done that, everything's installed correctly, I can plug the power cord in the wall or an extension cord, get right to work. Now alternatively, when you're done using this, all you'll need to do is take that collar, twist it counterclockwise a quarter of a turn, then the power cord is going to pull right out. You can wrap it up, put it in the case, and also put your Sawzall in the case so everything's stored for the next time you need to use it. Now finally, let's talk about the speed control, which consists of the variable speed trigger as well as this independent speed dial up here. Now what you can actually do versus just a standard reciprocating saw that would really only give you the option of controlling the speed of the blade movement by controlling that variable speed trigger, they actually double this up because they do have a maximum speed control right here on the top, similar to an oscillating tool. So right now I have it turned all the way down and low, and when I pull the trigger in all the way, you can see it is not going to go very fast. Now alternatively, I can just roll that up to 5, which is going to be the maximum speed, and then pulling the trigger in all the way, it's going to go at full speed. Now it is very easy to control that because the variable speed trigger is so sensitive, and you can see I can very easily control how fast I want it to move. Whether that's very slow, medium, or all the way on fast. Now if you are cutting through things, you don't want to think about that variable speed trigger, then that separate dial control may really help you get the job done a lot more effectively. Okay, now for a speed comparison test, I do have the M18 fuel Sawzall right here with a fully charged 4 amp hour battery pack and a brand new MK Morse renovator blade that's never been used. We're going to slice right through this 2x6 to show you how fast it can go through it. Now for the second and third cut, I will be using the Orbital Super Sawzall, also with a brand new MK Morse renovator blade that's the exact same one as the M18 fuel. Now I'll be making 2 cuts because the first cut will be a non-orbital action, and then the second cut I'm going to flip the switch over to orbital action so you can see the difference between the two of them. So starting out, we're going to use the M18 fuel. We'll line it right up, pull the trigger, and that'll give you a baseline of how fast that this can go through there. Now for our second cut, I'm going to go ahead use the Orbital Super Sawzall in non-orbital mode by sliding the switch all the way to the left. We'll go ahead and make a cut now. So that was roughly the same speed as the M18 fuel. Now I'll switch this to orbital action and we'll see if it makes a difference. So you can see with the orbital action, it did make a faster cut, but you can see just a little bit of chipping here along the edge. It's not going to be as clean of a cut as non-orbital, but it is going to get the job done for you a lot quicker. Now let's see how it does cutting through metal. Now to start out, I'll use a very small piece of angle iron, and the blade that I'll be using is going to be a Diablo carbide tip metal cutting blade. Now we'll bump that up to a fairly thick piece of square tubing. And finally, a thick piece of steel pipe. Now finally, keep in mind, because the handle does rotate 360 degrees, let's say you were demoing a deck and you needed to cut this off flush all the way across, but it's up above your head, it'd be real easy to pull that in, turn the blade sideways, lock it into place, and then you just go ahead and cut that completely off. So now you've seen Milwaukee's 360 degree rotational handle, Orbital Super Sawzall for yourself. And like I did say at the beginning of the video, this does feature their 13 amp motor. So although that's not the most powerful Super Sawzall, it's one of the most powerful, and it really outranks probably 90 or 95% of other Sawzalls and reciprocating saws in the market today. Now the main design feature of this, it really makes it unique of course, is that rotational handle. It's completely separate from the rest of the tool, and it can literally spin all the way around. There's not going to be any wires inside that's going to prevent it from turning, and that really makes a big difference so you don't accidentally damage something when you're using this. Now because you can always keep your hand aimed straight ahead and then turn the blade however you want to, that is going to make it a lot easier to work with, especially if you're doing demolition work at some weird angles. Now I do want to point out the fact that this is going to be a corded model, so it's not going to have the features of the M18 fuel cordless version. But you do want to keep in mind, as long as you do have a power source, this is never going to run out of power as long as you keep it plugged in. Where a battery powered model, as soon as the battery drains down, you're going to be out of luck. I also want to point out the fact that Milwaukee does offer a 5-year warranty with this, so if you do ever have a problem with it, and it's not an abuse situation, they will fix that for you free of charge. If you like this video, please click like. If you like my channel, please click subscribe. And thanks for watching.